3, 2, and uno.
Hey.
Hello.
You guys interrupted my intro.
You were staring at us.
You weren't talking.
Because you were like, it's TexAgs Rewind. Hello, everybody. Presented by Yeti. Hannah Harrison.
Yes. Hello, everybody.
Kennedy Cavan.
Hi, I'm Kennedy.
I am David Nuno. We had a fun show today. Hannah's first day on the show. And Hannah, I think you're sitting in the brawny chair, but you fixed it a little bit because it's definitely better than it was. What'd you learn today?
Well, I learned that all of y'all are in a pretty good mood today.
Okay.
Always on Fridays. Fridays are our
Always
good
on
mood shows.
The other thing that I learned was Hannah actually listens to sports radio and was familiar with the show and content and was listening even back in the day, back in the Gabe days.
Yeah.
So welcome to the team. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Kevin, favorite part of the show?
I love the Go Hour with Olin. It's just
You talk a lot more on the Go Hour, don't
I
you?
talk predominantly in the Go Hour.
Yeah. Hannah, your favorite part of the show?
Probably when Liucci got here. I don't know.
That was an
It's
aggressive
today.
start.
He was. It was.
It was an aggressive start from Liucci today.
A little aggressive, no doubt. He went straight for the Zaniac.
Straight for Zane's neck.
Well, you guys were right so far because on the Rewind today, we do have the Go Hour with Olin
Buchanan, our
Was
Heisman
his shirt
Trophy
not
voter.
open?
His shirt was a little John Travolta
little
today,
much.
a little Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights, yeah.
A little, yeah.
Little Boogie Nights. No, never mind. We had Liucci on, did 23 and 23. Shamar Turner, number 11 on there.
Shamar Turner Slay, if you will.
Slay, per.
Shamar Slay Turner, if you will.
Per, right? Is it
Per.
Per. And I apologize for anybody watching.
Zane's looking through the window again.
And then Braden Gall, who says that Tennessee owns the rights to the Oilers, which is true.
That they technically do, but
But they don't.
they don't. The history lies in the promised land.
But we talked a lot about why am I pointing? We talked a lot about A&M. She pointed out that I talk with my hands a lot. So watch the rewind for me and tell me what to do. Because I was thinking about this last night.
Okay.
I have more defensive questions than I have about offense, even though the offense is the biggest question for most. Okay. What are your 3 biggest questions about A&M this year? And if you want to participate on the text line or call us up, you can. About Texas A&M. What are your actual questions about this team? And when I say that, we all have a bunch of questions about many things, but from them being a 10-win team, double-digit win team, what are your 3 biggest questions about A&M? Text us on the text line, 979-693-1150. OB, do you have, what would be your first question?
Will the offensive line be improved enough for A&M to have a top 4 offense?
By the way, I'm going to let you do all yours, but you've already started at the exact place I started.
Yeah, I think we all. And then number 2 is the run defense going to be significantly better.
Did you get my show notes?
No, but this is. And then number 3, I'd say, are you going to be able to mount a pass rush, a respectable pass rush? Because last year's pass rush was pop gun.
So mine is not exactly like yours, but very similar. I don't have a lot of questions about the offense if they can block, right? If they block, I think the offense is going to score 30-plus points a game. That's really how I feel.
Okay.
So that was my first question. Can they block? The second question was, can they stop the run?
Okay.
And again, I think I've harped on it. We all have because we understand the way football is played. This is not breaking news here. But if they can't block and they can't stop the run, they ain't winning games. So can they stop the run? Then I didn't go to force sacks in this one. I said, can they force turnovers? Because I don't believe they had very many last year, OB.
4 interceptions.
Can they force turnovers, which to me means you're getting to the quarterback?
They had a guy in their history, I'd have to look this up, I think might have had 4 interceptions in a game.
There's been so much talk about the Petrino angle. My whole point in this long-winded question is I don't have as many questions about the offense now that I do about the defense. Where are you when it comes to like questions about A&M?
I think that's an interesting way to look at it. If you're talking about just the trust in the resume with Bobby Petrino, like I don't know how you have any doubts. Like there's no questions about his ability to design and implement an offense. He's done it a lot of different ways with a lot of different players. Generally, there's some common themes, whether that was Louisville with Michael Bush and Brian Brom, whether that was Arkansas when they were slinging it around with R.I.P. Ryan Mallett, of course, as well as I think it was Wilson the year after that had a huge year as well. And he's just, there's no questions about that. Like I know that he hasn't officially named a starter, but when you hear the phrase, and I think Olin said this, when you see the phrase accurate and fast, like, I think that's Connor Wigman. And I think we've all assumed Connor Wigman is the guy for a long time. Doesn't mean that they don't have a very good second option. I just don't doubt those things coming together and working. Now, is the offensive line top third in the SEC? That could make them a 9 or a 10 win team. Is it middle third of the SEC? That could make them a 7 or 8 win team. If it's terrible, that could make them a 6 or 7 win team. I just think the margins in this conference are so slim that we're going to be talking about 3 or 4 games every Saturday that are between 3.5 and 8 point spreads, according to Vegas, like in the West, in the East, everywhere. And so I don't, your question was about defense, so I'm getting there, but I'm not as worried about that side of the ball because, and this is a weird way to look at it, I think there are a lot of growing pains on offenses across the conference. Like if Jackson Dart is great, that's going to be a tough matchup. If Dan Enos and KJ Jefferson come together, that's going to be a tough matchup.
If they go through any sort of struggles, they're going to have some real issues because everybody's playing the NIL game right now. Like I've said all along, A&M and Texas were going to be big winners in the NIL front. When you start losing games like A&M did last year, that stuff doesn't matter. There's a reason A&M went from the number 1 class to like a top 15 class. And it wasn't because, they had limited numbers. That played a little bit of a role, but they still probably be outside the top 10. So you fall from 1 to out just, around like say 10 or a little lower. That's if they had numbers. Sure, some kids were worried about competition, but sure, some kids were sitting there going, well, we were expecting to hear more on the NIL front because of all these rumors that were out there. So there was some disappointment early on, first visit or two, and maybe some of these guys didn't return. That did affect everything. But nothing affected it more. No single thing affected it more than losing to App State, struggling, by midseason on, and some of the games they lost down the stretch, winning only two, right? 2 SEC games last year. Nothing affected it more than that. And so teams like A&M, Texas, and anyone else that's recruiting really well at this point in the season, even if you're, and I know, no one's supposed to have these guys, even if they think they've got NIL situations, you're going to lose guys if you don't win games. But the interesting thing is, I think this year is so similar for the Aggies and Longhorns because they both have to win. Both coaches have to win. I saw a deal the other day that had Sark way higher on the hot seat than Jimbo.
Is that right?
And that would have had to do, obviously, you're factoring in the contract at A&M, so I'm sure that person was going, well, even though Jimbo's in year 6. And so
you could see them moving on from Sark if they're...
No, not at all. Built like NFL build for that. He's like an NFL version, a Michael Bennett sized guy, but like what Bennett was in the NFL. Bennett was a smaller guy than Turner on the way up, like at this point in his career. But he's perfectly built, and I know people hate hearing it, but there is a place for 3-man front in games. I agree with everyone that we just don't want to see it near as much when so much of your talent is on the D-line as opposed to linebacker still. But there is a place for it, and it is an advantage against A, certain offenses, or B, certain situations, matchups, points in games, specific downs. Shamar Turner could be lethal as an end in an odd front, but he's also lining up when he's lining up as a fourth. He can line up in a 4-3 or 4-2-5, whatever you want to call it. He can line up at end or inside. He's equally as effective. So I think you'll see him a lot at end this year. I don't think we talk about him enough when you're talking about that rotation on the outside, but he is extremely physical, extremely explosive. He's experienced now, and he's a high round NFL size, athleticism, twitch, raw talent. He's a high round NFL guy in those regards. Now the question is, as his playing time increases, will he start showing that on the field? Because that physical skill set, he's got first team all SEC talent. Now, in order to get there, can you separate from a crowded pack of really talented defensive linemen? And there's a lot of guys that are going to try their best to keep that from happening. And so if you slip up, there are multiple others that will step in and cut into your playing time. That goes for Fadil Diggs. That goes for Shamar Stewart. That goes for, whether it's Enoch White or Scylla trying to get playing time.
At the end of the intro, I said, tell me what to do.
Okay. What do we do? Anna, do you know?
What do you do at the end of a YouTube video?
At the end of a YouTube video?
Yeah. Or you can do it at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
Follow along.
Yeah.
Follow.
We'll see you
Monday.
Yeah.
It's Friday.
This is one of our best or worst or
I think this is like this.
It has potential.
Has been the smoothest outro.
Yeah.
that
I
we've
think
done.
your definition of smooth and mine are different, but it's
Yes,
all
they
good.
are.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.